Hello, everyone. Welcome back to For Such a Time as This Talks. I am your host, Xiann Cooley, and here the time is now. Today, I have with me two of my nursing school classmates, Blythe Floyd and Kim Almonte, aka Mama Kim. And so I'm going to give them a chance to introduce themselves. Welcome, guys.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good. A little emotional because today was our last day really being students, I think. I mean, we've all got our assignments turned in by now, so
I hope.
This is
yesterday
it.
was the deadline.
I didn't last night. I called another class. I called Griffin Smith, and I was like, what is due tonight?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, but I got it.
But you made it.
I made it.
We're on this side of it, right?
That's right. With an hour left, I did.
That's it. Look, real nurse school talk for
really?
You, okay?
I'm Blythe Floyd. I am graduating this weekend, and I am going into post anesthesia.
Just got married this year.
Just got married.
That's my first time calling her by her married last name, y'all.
Look, I went to the pharmacy before this, and they're like, "What's your name?" And I said, "Blythe Floyd." Floyd. I still sign Bates and everything.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
it's a
BB, and now I'm having to do a different letter, and it's freaking me out. Yeah. You ready, Kim?
My name is Kimberly, and I'm also graduating in a few days. Thank you, Jesus. And I really want to go into labor and delivery, but I do have an offer for Wellstar Paulding at medical unit, which I'm not sure if I'm going to accept it or not.
Just trusting in the Lord.
So I'm just trusting God to see where he's going to take me.
Absolutely. Well, again, guys, welcome. This is gonna be great. So I'm looking forward to this talk today. And so we're gonna go into our first topic, is just trusting God throughout nursing school. So can y'all tell me a little bit about that journey for you all?
I'm trying to think where to start, because the whole 2.5 years we could sit here and talk about it from the very beginning.
It's been a different season every
semester. It has been different. Yeah. There's so many highs and lows of nursing school, and I feel like if you don't have, I can't imagine having to do this without faith and without having a constant voice like driving you. There's a motivation that comes from deep within to get through some of the stuff that we've done. And definitely. I mean, I look back, so last August, it was right after I got engaged. I had found a cat on the side of the road before an exam and like had a kitten, all this stuff. And there was a lot of change happening at once. We were going into Patho Farm 2. I think I've kind of told you this story a little bit. This is what I think of when I think of this question. And I, for the first time, experienced what depression was, had no idea what it was. And I remember one day, and I had failed one of the math exams, and I was thinking, I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it. And I had to go on medication, and I went and got my Bible because that was the last resort. I hadn't turned to God yet. And I was like, I'm going to fail out of nursing school. And at the end of the day, I think if I would have failed out then, I would have just done a different career, because there was nothing in me that
would have had the drive.
And so I flipped. I did that thing that you do, and I feel like every person has done this, where you flip to the Bible in a page and you're like, God, I need you to answer every question I've ever had and every problem. And I flipped to it, and I actually found it last Sunday while we were at church, because I wrote it on a bookmark, and the page that it opened to, I don't even know what book it's in. I have no idea what verse it is, but it's marked, and it said, "And she will nurse." And I said, I'm going to be fine. Wow. And from that point on, whenever I get stressed out, I'm like, she will nurse. It's going to be okay. And I think it was about nursing, about breastfeeding, which is funny because you back at it.
About to say, that's what you want to do, though.
But she will nurse. And so it was a really good, and that's been the thing through is I don't feel like I was the one taking those exams, because I walk out half the time like, Kim, I don't even know what I just did.
Yeah.
I have no idea the questions I just answered.
Like that, I'm like that half the time.
Yeah. And sometimes you sit there and it's just like, I don't know what I'm doing, but there's the force that just drives you through. So I think that's what I have to say about that.
No, that was great. And I think that's so relatable.
Yeah.
Definitely, because I know that you're definitely not the only one who finds yourself in that rough patch for a season or a semester.
And it was out of nowhere. And the girl, I ended up going to a nurse practitioner online for it, and because I was like, I don't want to take medication, but I'm going to have to. And she was actually a nurse practitioner. So she had been through nursing school, and I remember her saying, and she was actually from Georgia too, and she was based in New Jersey, so it was really weird that she was from Georgia. Yeah. The girl, I don't remember her name, she went to Emory, but I remember her saying, my hair fell out in nursing school, and there's nothing wrong with needing help because it is so stressful. And it was crazy, the amount of people that I know of that have struggled with mental health through it. But when she diagnosed me, it was situational, and it was basically school. Like, this is why. So,
and I think definitely, I love how you said, you flip to that verse and you ask God, like, give me something. He gave you a simple, literally exactly what you needed.
It was so simple, and I think a lot of times we tend to ask him last for help. When it says, it literally says in the Bible, if you need help, ask for it. If you wish for something, seek me first. Ask. Exactly. And all I did was say, I need something that's going to make me know that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah, that I'm okay in this.
And
that
I'm
you're
fine.
with me in this. Yeah.
And it was, she will nurse. And I said, okay. All right. Then the word nurse is only mentioned in the Bible a handful of times, because I looked up, I was like, how, you have to logically ask, how much of a coincidence is this? Yeah. It was not much. And so it was like the fact that it was to that page, and immediately I looked at that verse. And
how did that make you feel in that moment? Like when you read it and you was just like,
just so not alone, because it can be such a lonely process of your friends and family do not know what you're going through. When you're, I have friends that are in other educational majors, and I'm like, I have an exam tomorrow and I'm throwing up because I'm so nervous for it. And they're like, oh yeah,
it'll be okay.
I've got that. And they're like, you
get a little frustrated.
It's frustrating because it's, and even my husband, and like, I know we're going to get into that in a minute. I'll say stuff and he's like, yeah, but you're going to be fine. And I'm like, you don't know that, because it can change on a flip of a dime.
Yeah.
And so having it was a very, I don't know what the word is that I'm looking for. It just comforting. I'm not alone. He knows what I desire. Yeah. He knows what I'm asking for, and he's answering it.
Not only that, but he knows what he's called you to do. He wanted you to believe it as much as he already did.
Absolutely. Because coming in, I'm the youngest in the cohort by a good bit. Yeah. And so coming in, I was so intimidated. And it really has been like, here you go. You're fine. Like, you're good. You're doing what you're supposed to be doing. So that was I think that's what I immediately thought of when I read the question. So.
That's awesome. My God. That's real.
Yeah.
Kim?
Can you imagine me being one of the oldest?
That's why you call me
y'all found each other though. Mom. Yeah, I call all of y'all I said this Mama Kim, Mama Christy, and y'all we'll get them on here. But yeah, that's why I call all of y'all Mom.
Yes, that's why, and that's fine with me. Trusting God for me has been everything.
Yeah.
I wear my shirt every exam.
We got our exam shirts. Blythe don't have hers on today, but us two always got our shirts on every exam.
Yes, it doesn't matter, what happens in that exam, whether if I pass it or not. I still have, kept my faith in God, and I still kept, just praying about it. And the way I guess the way I would think, if I didn't do good on an exam, I would just, if I didn't do good, I'm pretty sure my next one is gonna, double up. It's gonna be better where
I love that mindset.
Could catch up, to what I need to get. And he has been everything for me. Through every time I come to when I come to school, that's all I do, just worship. In your I call it the Bible study. I would be here. I would, be upset if I wasn't here on time, because that was like a big start for me in every exam. That meant everything for me and did a huge difference.
Oh, y'all gonna make me cry.
Yes. So it sure did.
And I think I love how, the more each of us began to speak out about our faith, the closer we all got. And not only that, but the closer we got just relying on God all the more. It's like, okay, you relying on God, I'm believing God for you, for the next person, for the next exam, for whatever it was. And just to see him continuously show up in all of our circumstances was such a beautiful thing. And I don't think I wouldn't replace those moments with y'all for anything, to be honest with you. Gathering with each of y'all every single, morning before the exam. And all of us gathering together on one accord. And what's the call? I can't remember the exact verse, but how God, it says in the Bible, you know, wherever two or three are gathered, there I am amongst them. He was with us every time we gathered like that.
Yes.
His presence was there.
Yes.
Literally, if y'all didn't hear it, he was saying, "Here I am," every single time.
Yes.
He was in the midst of it, walking up and down the aisles. He was taking each and every one of y'all's exams. Literally, like you said, you were walking like, God, I don't know what I did.
Yes. Yes.
He was in the midst of it. And I love that. We all know that, you know.
There was, I mean, you can ask him. So I'm always late to a lot of stuff. It's a recent habit with nursing school. But there was one exam this semester, and I woke up late. I knew I wasn't going to make it to the prayer. Before I walked in this building, I knew I was going to fail. I'm not kidding. I told him afterwards I said I failed, and I know that I did. And I feel like praying for the exam was, I would not miss it. Like if I had to speed here and get a ticket, I was going to get it. Like, and that's terrible. But I mean, there were so many mornings I was like, Kim, please do not let them start without me. Please.
And
I would
start calling y'all. Like if I knew I had you on the phone in my ear or something. Yeah.
That was, he's called the Prince of Peace for a reason. And it was what you needed in that moment was just to feel presence. And the prayers were always so specific. It was exactly what everybody needed to hear at that moment. And I don't think that our outcomes, I wish they could do a survey to say what were the outcomes on these exams if they prayed or if they didn't, because I failed the one that I didn't go to, and maybe I'm a superstitious person, but before I walked in here, when I knew I didn't make that prayer, I said, I'm done. I'm not. I can't.
And honestly, you can pray, you know, just even if y'all want to pull me aside, like I was willing. Yeah. It didn't matter to me because I wanted y'all to know that, you know, I knew how important it was for me. And how much it also was important to y'all and affected y'all. And I love, again, how it literally centered us and relied on God. Like, even though we was approaching a very serious, stressful situation before we had to face that exam, to just know, like, God, before I walk into this room, I'm handing this over to you at the door. Literally, they said, meet me at the door.
And there was other students, like, walking in that would have to walk by us. And it just makes you think, I've never seen that done before. I've never seen anybody else do it. And it makes you think, how is this going to affect the cohorts behind us? What if they start doing it and it just ripples? Look at, just the other people that are walking out of class, and we literally stand by the door. Yeah. We're blocking that thing. We're in the way. Yeah. We are in the way. They're probably very annoyed with us.
One time there was someone that was just sitting there.
Oh, he joined the prayer. He joined. He was just like,
joined. Yeah. So isn't that awesome how people can utilize anyone just to, you know, join? And I mean, we may never know what transpire for that person after that.
Why God had them sitting there.
Yes. So, well, it got to a point where my husband got me a cup that says, you know, I can do anything through Christ.
That's right.
Who strengthens me. So every time I would bring that cup and I would just look at it, and whenever I didn't know what to do, I was just on those exams, I'm like, please God, I would just look at that cup and you know, God would just, you know,
give you peace.
Give me peace and just, you know, make me choose an answer and moved on. But one of the things that I wanted to say is that, you know, when God has a plan for everyone, I've been in the medical field for like 24 years, wanting to do something that's that was, you know, like make me feel good,
meaningful,
fulfilling. And I couldn't understand why it took me so long until now.
It's okay.
I'm sorry that I'm getting emotional.
No, don't get
about that question about having kids. My kids literally helped me through nursing school. God had blessed me with smart kids, which me going to nursing school, one of the things that I was afraid was math. That was my biggest concern. So my kids are genius, and not because those are my kids, but they are all very smart. I have 4 of them, and they're all very smart, and they were able to help me.
That's awesome.
Especially my oldest daughter, who is a nurse now, and she convinced me to keep going and keep taking my prerequisites to keep going to nursing school, because she explained to me, Mom, the math that you have to deal with in nursing school has nothing to do with algebra, has nothing to do, because that was like my biggest concern. I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to waste my time. So in terms of that, on parenting, I mean, that has been really huge. There has been, you know, instead of me supporting them, they have been supporting me.
But God
in
knew.
most of the time, and God knew that I needed that.
Yeah, so that's part
for
of the
me
reason
to
why.
get yes.
Yeah.
So all that made me understand. I know why I couldn't do it then. They were little.
Yeah.
I mean, there was no way. Even though I always have helped, I've been blessed with a awesome mother-in-law, but it God knew that it was gonna take more than that for me to make it where
was a
I am
family
right
effort.
now.
Yeah.
So it was a family effort. Yes.
And I love that because
It
you had
was.
that support. And God gave you that
Yes.
support
Yes.
right when you needed it.
Yes, right when I needed it. Yes. So it's been a journey with them, and sometimes I because I guess the little ones that are still living with me. My oldest daughter is already married. And I have my second child who's home, but she has her own thing going on. But the two little ones, they hear everything about what I go through. So sometimes I feel bad for them because it's like, oh my God, I'm just throwing this load,
but they
at them, which sometimes I felt like it wasn't fair, but I had to do something about it.
And honestly,
they're getting a lot out of it too.
Yeah, I was about to say, yeah.
And they're getting strength that they don't know
Yes.
that they are.
Yeah, and you not only that, but they got to watch you work hard, and they know what it is to work hard because you set that example for them. And I'm sure each and every one of them could agree that having you as a mom has been such a blessing to them. Like, as much as it's been a blessing for them to be your children, and for them to help you, you've been an even more blessing to them. I guarantee you. I guarantee, like, if I ask any of them, they would not replace you for anything. They love you dearly. And so just knowing that you set that example for them, that's going to carry on into their lives. And they're going to turn back to you because when when it gets hard, they're going to say, Mom, how did you get through it?
Yes, and old and everything. And that's what I tell them. Even if they say something, I'm like, you know what? I'm 45 years old and I still do blah, blah, blah. So, I don't want to hear any excuse. So, yeah, even though, yes, it is hard. It's not a piece of cake, but
and they need to, and I'm sure they need to see that it wasn't always going to be easy. Because what if you didn't share those moments with them? What if they always, and they went into the world with this not realistic expectation of some things that they could possibly face. And so the fact that you were able to be real with them and say, y'all, it's not easy. But I'm trusting God, and that's another thing that you lived out in front of them. And so that's going to carry on, like I said, into their lives, and they're going to say, okay, my mom, when it got hard for my mom, I saw her turn to God. I saw her turn to us. I saw her turn to family. I saw her turn to whoever, just to uplift her and to keep going. So yeah, I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't neglect that at all. Or make even for you to feel bad. God had you in that process, and it all occurred for a reason.
And that was the reason why. I needed their support. I
Definitely.
needed their brain.
Needed some of that wisdom and intelligence the Lord bless them with. Definitely. And so our next topic is going to be marriage life. Blythe, as a newly married woman, and Kim, you've had what?
Oh my gosh, yes, almost 30 years.
30, wow. So you definitely had to tell us a little bit about that.
Yes, I sure will.
All right. You're
Yeah, I got married in October. It is the beginning of December, so we're like a month and a half strong.
That's right.
Killing
it.
Putting in that work.
That's right.
But I was reading what we were talking about today, and I was laughing, and I was telling Xiann, it's funny that this is the topic because we kind of had, me and my husband, his name's Dylan, so if I refer to him as Dylan, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. We had a conversation. We met during our first semester of nursing school.
Wow.
He does not know me. He does not know who I am because I was explaining to him I'm a very fun, not let's don't stress about it. It's gonna work out, and that is who I've always been. But since I met him, I mean, he picked the trough of a season to come into. I mean, God just really he made him work for it, But I told him, I said, you don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And it's crazy to think about. We're married and you're now going to figure out who I am because, and I think he's already seeing my stress levels are kind of decreasing a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm so much calmer. And then, we're the crazy people that decided let's get married during our last semester of nursing school. And I planned it myself. I didn't have a planner. We paid for it ourselves. Our parents helped, here and there where they could, but we paid for it. And then we built a house during nursing school. Yeah. I mean, we just kept taking things on. And but it's kind of the same thing. I skipped a grade of school doing dual enrollment, but if it was not for Dylan, I would not be graduating. And I really think that, and you can look back and there's people other than him, my mom, my grandmother, teachers, Nicole in the testing center. I wrote her a thank you card today and said, I don't think I would be graduating without this. But without him being so supportive, and so there are times when I know that I am just raging and I'm a lunatic. Like I cry before every exam. Every night before an exam, I'm a lunatic. Like I cry before every exam. Every night before an exam, I am just so stressed out. And he would leave work. He used to work at a grocery store in Newton when he, before he started his job he's at now. And he would leave his work at 10 o'clock. He would drive to my house, which is 30 minutes from his house. He would see me for an hour and go home and then get back up the next morning and do it all again. And he would come, and for that hour, I might cry the whole hour because I'm like, I've got an exam tomorrow. He doesn't understand, which we talked about. Nobody understands it unless you've done it or you're doing it. But he didn't have to. And so a lot of the reason why I knew this is the person I want to marry was because he came in during the thick of it. And we had the hard times then. And the whole process was just so much easier because of him. And then getting married during nursing school, it was just trying to juggle prioritization. And so if I was at work and had a 30-minute lunch break, I was wedding planning during that 30 minutes. I was making phone calls.
I know you were. You had me cracking. I was watching
all the time.
All the time.
But God he worked everything out how it needed to be. It was a perfect wedding. Our house is done. We have a tiny house. We live in our little 430 square foot house, and I love it. And I wouldn't change anything that has happened. I wouldn't change any of it. It just worked out great. And I think the first thing was I needed him and he needed me, but God knew that. And he worked everything out. There were so many times where like, I don't know how this is going to work. Not me and him, but just getting married and we've got 5 animals.
What are your animals?
So I have 2 dogs and I have 3 cats, and every one of them is a rescue. And
so that explains the cat that you started to pick up on the side.
That was the cat I picked up. She was on the side of the highway. When I got our last rescue, which hopefully will be our last rescue, because I feel like God is like, okay, all right,
those are your children, right?
You're done. Those are my children. So one of them. We'll get there when we get there. But one of the last dog that we got him from the pound, and he was about to be euthanized. And I was in Cobb County at a clinical in my white scrubs, and we ended up leaving clinical early that day, and I went straight to the pound. The pound literally has a picture of me on their website holding this pit bull, like in my scrubs.
Are you serious?
And I'm in my scrubs, and there's paw prints all over my scrubs. Kind of gross. It's got paw prints all over it.
It's been through everything.
It's been through the thick of it.
The thick of it?
That's what yeah. But that I think the best advice I can give you is like when you know, and there's no time limit for it, because we got engaged and married within 2 years, and that we got so many questions. But I was like, when you put God at the center and He's your first, you can't. You know.
Yeah, He's literally your firm foundation.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Like literally, when everything else seems to be crumbling or uneasy, He has you.
Yeah.
He wants you to be still in knowing that.
Yeah.
And so that's great.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And there are so many specifics, like just like fear of somebody not providing for me or being there for me, and all of those fears were answered so quickly with him because of nursing school. A lot of times, like, I know what he's going to be like when times get hard, because he came into my life when I was a crazy maniac. And so I know what he's going to be like.
You saw the worst. You saw the worst.
So just every affirmation was answered with that.
Yeah, that's beautiful, because not everybody, your story is unique. And not only that, but I'm sure you're not the only one, just the very intricate parts of it. Other people are also going through, and they're also wondering those things that you just talked about.
Yeah.
And the fact that you were able to live it out and to see, be on the other side of it is irreplaceable. Like I'm sure you can go back to, like you said, those very moments where you may have been crying, you was upset, and you was like, God, I'm so thankful that you blessed me with Dylan.
Yeah.
And not only that, but he knew exactly who you needed when you needed him.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how we know that, God is our source, but he blesses us with the most, I would just say, like, the most, like, how they fit us, the resources that he provides us with, Absolutely. The friends, the family, the loved ones. Like, he knew exactly who we needed, when we needed them, why we needed them. Mm-hmm. And just to see them, the love of God show, reflect through them, mm-hmm. is such a blessing.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I look at all of you around me and I think, like, I couldn't have done it without Kim. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have done it without you. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have done it. There's everybody in that room played a part in mm-hmm. everybody's story.
Definitely.
So,
yeah. Mm-hmm. Same. Yeah, for real. Miss Kim.
Okay. Kim's turn. Well, I've been married for 30 years. Mm-hmm. I've been married to my high school sweetheart. Mm-hmm. That's another story that I need to tell. When something is for you, something is for you. Mm-hmm. My husband, when we met in high school, we were in 10th grade, he left. His father got sick. His father lived in another state. He went to care for his dad and be there with him. Then he came back. Mm. And then we reunited in a weird way. My best friend was literally my best friend's boyfriend had a beeper store. I'm sure you guys remember about the beeper, the pagers.
Oh yeah.
You know, pagers, beeper.
Yeah,
you know.
I know what you're
So
talking
about. Yes. So he ended up working for him. Mm. And of course, my pager was connected in that store. So I see this guy around my best friend's house. Yeah, just putting poster. And then I looked at him and I'm like, oh my God, that's David. I'm like, where has he been? But I've never, we didn't talk or anything until it was time for me to go pay my bill. So I saw
you had to go pay your pager.
Yes, I had to go pay my pager. You know that you before it was like, you could pay it every month or every 3 months. They used to give you a deal. So anyway, long story short, we reconnected there. Yeah. So that just goes to tell you another story that I have that, mm-hmm. God just works in mysterious ways. So we reunited there and then we got reconnected again. Mm-hmm. And so we've been together ever since. He has played a big part in everything for me. Mm. He has been a great provider, a great husband, a great father. Mm. He has been, without him, I wouldn't be here. He once, because he knew how important it was for me to, go to nursing school and, have this career that, he's like, you know what, I can sacrifice myself for 2 years, until you finish nursing school and I take care of all the bills. I was able to just be strictly 100% come to school. I didn't have to worry about anything, which was a blessing for me. Without definitely. Him, so yeah, so
and the fact that God made a way for that to happen.
Yes. Oh, yes. God had made a way because everything, was just, lined up. And it was just in terms of jobs, him, making enough money to, have everything covered.
Again, God's timing.
Yes, God timing is perfect. And that was another thing. Like back then, God has always blessed us with good paying jobs. But sometimes even if you at that time you're getting paid good, it's like, are you going to be able to make it? Because nursing school, yes, you can go ahead and work, but it's recommended for you not to work. So my daughter, since she went through the process, she told me, you know what, if I was you, if dad has it, just stay home, because I really wanted to still keep working. But
you didn't have to. That's
but
what she
yeah,
was
saying. So she was saying, if you don't have to, I would just stay home and do it. So he has been, played a big part of it. And the advice that I have about marriage is that, everyone that has been together for a long time, it has not been happy the whole time. If people tell you that, they just lying. I mean, there's a lot of things that, in order for you to have a family that you have to deal with. It necessarily doesn't need to be cheating or anything like that, because people, the first thing that comes to mind is like, oh, we're talking about cheating. It could be anything. It can even be about, what movie you want to watch, and I don't like those type of movies.
things,
Just simple things that you think that are simple, but those things are big. So so just, like they say, marriage is a compromise.
It is.
And it's always going to be, and we are human beings and getting older, and we always, once you think that you already gotten that person and you've gotten adjusted, to how that person is, they'll come with something new.
Yeah.
So there's always, something new that you have to learn about that person. So there's a lot for you to learn. My advice is just, just don't, get upset and right away, call it quit. Just try to do everything you can before you call it quit.
Yeah, and I think also just knowing that God is the foundation also of your marriage, of your relationship.
Yes.
And so when things did get hard, tell us a little bit about those moments for you.
Oh, yes. Again, God has always been a big part of my life. God had played, even in my marriage, a very good part in it, because I'm from up north and I'm from New York. I mean, the life there is so fast that it doesn't matter what you do. It's like, even if you want to slow down and focus on God, I mean, there's times that you're like, oh my God, at 1 o'clock in the morning, oh my God, I forgot to pray. Oh my God, I forgot to do this. I forgot to do that. I had my children in Catholic school. So that required for you to go to church like every Saturday. It was either that, or you had to give a little bit more money, like on their, I was in the tuition, if you were not able to go to, to church. So I used to do that. I used to, pay extra for me not to go, for me to just stay home, because I was so tired from working, until my sister-in-law moved down here, and we came to visit, and we were fine. We didn't need to move. I mean, like I said, God has always blessed us with good jobs, and my kids were good. And my purpose of coming here, it was for two things. Number one, for me to go ahead and pay more attention to God, and number two, for me to fulfill my career.
He did both of those things for you.
And
That's
he sure
beautiful.
did.
That's beautiful.
So, yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, because that was a real transition for you, and the fact that your focus was God, and also that He showed you how much He just loves for you and cared for your desires,
Yes.
and getting you through nursing school. He's like, Kim, I love that you're putting me first. I'm with you in this too. My hand is on this with you, as you're going through it.
Because that's another thing. If I would have stayed in New York, I mean,
you could have missed it.
I could have, yes, because I mean, I wasn't going to focus on what God wanted me to focus on Him. And then, like we always say, I mean, put God first, and everything will just come.
Yeah, exactly. Acknowledge God in all your ways.
Yes.
That's right. That's thank you. Thank you. And we love your emotion. You be trying to hold it.
Oh my God, I'm trying to hold it so bad.
But I'm
an
real.
Emotional person.
And that's okay.
So, which is sometimes it's okay, but sometimes I think it's like bad in a way.
Why? Why do you think it's bad?
I think it's bad because it's like, I guess you show your most vulnerable time.
And vulnerability is that's a blessing in itself.
Need the mic.
I need the mic. But no, because so many people have such a struggle being vulnerable.
Yes.
And to see how God has sincerely touched your life and affected you. And when you revert back to those moments, you feel the emotion that you felt in those instances.
Yes.
That's real.
Yes.
Feel that. Because so many people can just get freedom in that. They can get understanding in that. They can go back to God and say, okay, God, like, it's okay that I feel this way because she showed me while crying.
Yes.
That it's okay to cry. Some people don't feel like it's okay to cry. They don't think it's okay to feel the way they feel, the emotions, the feelings. they think it's a sign of weakness. It's not. And if it is, it's okay, because when we're weak, God is strong. So you're just proving just how strong as God has been and showed up in your life.
Oh, yes.
And that's all the more of a blessing. That's all the more of a miracle. It's all the more to just be thankful for where He's brought you from.
Yes.
I love y'all so much. Thank y'all so much for today.
You're welcome.
Okay,
Thank
so
you for
as we are
having us.
closing it out, is there a piece of advice? So something I say, for these talks is the time is now. So what each of you say the time is now, ... or to do? It could be anything. It could be about anything we talked
nursing?
about. It could be anything. Based off the topics we talked about, what do you just feel right now in your heart that the time is now? What would be your piece of advice to someone right now?
Oh my gosh, hold on. I need to think about it. Let me think. Okay. All right, I got it.
Gotcha. The time is now.
I think the time is now to stop allowing the thinking that your dreams are too big. Just go and do it. Yeah. You can do it. People are always going to tell you, especially nursing school, it's hard.
It's impossible.
It's everything coming into it. And people that were older than me, it was always that had done it. It was always, it's really hard.
Yeah.
It's hard, but it's worth it, and it's doable.
Yeah.
So if you have a dream that you think you're being called to, I mean, I've wanted to do this since I was tiny, like 5 years old. You can do it. Yeah. And nobody's perception matters except God's. And if He is giving you the will for it, there is a reason.
Yeah. He intends to get
and
you
He will make it work. He will work it out for you, and He will help you every step of the way. And once you learn to release that fear and the worry and take everything day by day, you will be just fine.
Literally placing it back into His hands every moment.
Every time. I remember telling Adriana Martin that was with us in school, we're talking about it one day, and I said, the best thing I figured out in nursing school is look at everything day by day. Wake up in the morning, pray, eat your breakfast, eat your lunch, study.
Be
I was
present
like,
in those
take
moments.
it day by day. Do not look at the weeks in advance. Do not look at the months in advance.
It'll overwhelm you.
Because you get in the habit of, I remember we did this one of the first semesters. It was like, all you have to do is get through Pathoform 1 and then Pathoform 2. And then people say that Healthcare 3 is easy. And it was like you would look so far in advance, and it was like, look at today. What do you have to do today? Put God in that, and you're going to be just fine.
And not only that, but expect to see God in it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Blythe. The time is now to say that one more time.
The time is now to stop letting fear hold you back.
Yeah, stop thinking your dreams are too big for God.
They're not.
Yeah.
They're not at all.
One more time, Blythe. They're not.
They're not too big.
I want to make sure y'all hear that, okay?
They're not too
Nothing's
big.
too big for God.
You
and like she said,
capable.
If God's giving you the will to do it, it's for a reason.
There's always, if you have an internal drive to do something, there's a reason you're being called to do it.
Absolutely.
Even if it doesn't make sense to you in the moment.
That's right. Mama Kim?
Yes, I would agree 100% with Blythe. Just take everything that you do day by day. It doesn't matter what it is, because God has a plan for you. If whatever God's put in your heart, He's gonna make it to pass.
That's right.
So just trusting God every step of the way. It doesn't matter how worse it gets, but always remember that after the storm, there's always comes the sun, the rainbow.
That's
so
right.
That's and that's all you need.
So what will be your piece of advice? The time is now for what?
The time is now for you to go ahead and take action on what you think you wanted to do.
Yeah.
The time is now for you to take action and just follow what God has in your heart.
That's beautiful. Look, and that's it. And there's so much, like you said, so much freedom in that. Because some people don't know that it's okay to pursue what you feel like God has laid on your heart.
Oh yes, and you will feel such relief, because that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm like honestly, like I don't even care about working. Just me yes, just me. Just having this degree for me meant everything, because I like I think I owe it to God and to myself. So,
like I was watching this movie one day, and I think it was like a track runner or something like that. And at the end of her race, because she would train and do all these different things, and she said, "Now I've learned to say through the training and through doing the races and winning, that it's never I did it, but we did it. Me and God together as a team. Me surrendering to God and saying, God, let your will be done.
Yes.
And whatever you want to do, I'm with you."
And that was my thing. It didn't matter how, it didn't matter how much it hurt me. Like every time I would pray for every exam or everything that was important to me, it did hurt me, but I did tell God, let it be your will. It may hurt me. I don't know what I'm going to do if it happens the way I don't want it to be, but let it be your will, and I'm sure it will be fine. It'll be okay.
Always.
I will just, find a way, in whatever. So, and I wouldn't cry my eyes out after that.
And that's
but
okay,
just
though.
Waiting for the outcome. And, I was fine, even if,
And trusting who's in control of the outcome.
Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes. Trusting all the time. Yes.
And then you was going to say something, Blythe?
I just thought of, so with what you said, so there's a song that I listen to before most exams. There's a few of them. Me and Kim have one in similar, which makes me laugh. Yeah. We walked up and we're both listening to it. But one of them is Peace by We the Kingdom. And there's a line in it, and it's basically saying, like, as I'm resting, I can feel your angels all around. And I'm resting underneath the shadow of your mighty peace. And that, you know what I'm talking about? Like, that is nursing school. And there's, on the way to school, that I pray in my car. I don't know what it is about my Jeep, but like every time I get in it, I'm like, it's time to go. It's time to go. And so before every exam, I always pray and I say, I know that without you, I'm not going to pass this exam. And I know that without you, like, this is not going to happen. So I just need you. I need you to help me. And after every exam, when I pass, I say, thank you. Thank you. Because I know that I didn't do it by myself at all. You can just feel it when you're taking the exams. I mean, we talked about it. You walk out and like, I have no idea what I just did.
You have no idea. Lord, it was you.
The final, I walked out and they were asking questions and I said, I don't remember that. I was like, I don't remember taking it. I know I took it.
You were there.
I was there.
Yeah.
But there's only so much humans can do to go through stuff like that. There's a different piece that comes with godly preparation.
Also that and also knowing when we come to the end of ourselves.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's nursing school in itself. It's realizing every day that you come to the end of yourself. God, I don't have enough strength to go to this clinical, to go to work, to take this exam, to study. But I need you to go the rest of the way for me. I need you sincerely to be my strength right now. Because I don't have it in me. I need you to sustain me right now. And to be willing enough to admit that. That's the biggest part, I feel like, is admitting, say, God, like, literally, like you said, thank you, because I couldn't have done this without you.
Yeah. I think he places physical people in your life, too. Like, Kim is a big, like, we weren't, the first semesters, we really weren't that close. And some people that I was with, they ended up, they left the program. And so it was like, I needed somebody in that moment because I never studied with people. I always was by myself. I would leave class. I would not see anybody else until the next class. And then I remember one day being like, hey, you want to come sit with us? But without her being like, get to school right now and study with me. Get up here right now. Like, I would want to leave. She'd be like, you've been in there. She'd be like, no, you're not leaving.
You're not leaving. Yeah, not yet.
And it's
another
like,
hour, Blythe.
I can hear God saying, you're not done. And then I've got Kim, who's 5'1", and she's scaring me. And she's like, you're not leaving. So he really does. If you're not going to listen to him, he's going to make somebody else do it. So
I'd say the same thing about you. I mean, God have placed her, oh my God, as an angel.
Oh,
that's another thing that like we've always said, God has people in your path that you will never, know that they gonna be there for you. So sorry, another emotional part. I can't continue because if not, I would literally cry.
No, but
how I know that God put Blythe in my life, is because, also you also played a huge part because it's like we used to go back and forth like well, are we gonna study today? I mean, honestly, Patho too, we lived here.
Yeah, I think that was all of
We
us.
will
We
be
all lived
here.
somewhere on campus. Yeah, yeah, we was
Yes.
here hours. I fell
Yes.
asleep on the
Yes.
table or something.
Yeah.
I was like, y'all, it was like we was going on a lunch break or something. I
Yes.
say, I give y'all the money, y'all get my food, and then I'm like,
Yes, yes. So
yeah.
it got to that point, and we will always text each other. Yeah, we're
Mhm.
gonna be there. So it's very important,
Mhm.
especially in nursing school, for you to have someone that you can hold accountable.
Mhm.
Because without that, sometimes
Yeah, you need that accountability.
There were
yes,
so many times I wasn't coming
yes,
for myself.
yes.
Mhm.
I know.
Kim was here.
I know. I
Mhm.
felt the same way. I'm like, yeah, I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta meet with Blythe.
Yeah.
We had we always had a plan,
Mhm.
what to study, or we actually
off
we
each other's
played off it
strengths, too.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, we did that a lot. So that has been a blessing.
Well, guys, I want to thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure having each of you. And guests, I want to sincerely thank y'all for tuning in today. Again, this is Blythe and Kim. I want to give y'all show them some love.
Yes.
And definitely tune in next time. I'm going to pray us out like I normally would do for our Bible studies.
Yes.
And then we're going to close it out. So, Lord, I just thank you so much for this day. God, thank you for Blythe and Kim joining me today. I pray that you would just continue to bless them on their nursing on their nursing journeys, Father, and that you would just continue to have your hand over them. May you continue to find ways to remind them, God, when it gets hard in their nursing, God, or just all of us in general, God. This is sincerely what it is you call us to do. Lord Jesus, may you bless our relationships. Thank you for the relationships and the people that you placed in our life, God, to uplift us when we needed it the most. Even when we didn't know that we would need it, God, you strategically placed those people in our life, God, to be your voice, to be literally the light in our dark moments, Father. And we thank you so much for each of them, God. We thank you for your faithfulness. Lord Jesus, we thank you for lifting us up, Father God. We needed we needed that, literally a comforter, God. We needed to know that a friend, and we're so thankful, God, that we know you as a comforter, as a friend, because of nursing school, everything that you brought us through during this process. And so, God, we just sincerely want to thank you. We couldn't have done this without you. We give you all the glory, all the honor, and all the praise. In Jesus' mighty name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
All right, y'all. Viewers, thank y'all so much. I love y'all. We will see y'all next time.
Okay. Bye.